Ahoy, friends. It's me, Dave Landau. After a long night on stage, I like to kick back with a captain's hat and a fine cigar and watch the Dennis and Andy show. These guys are huge nerds, but they're the kind that you actually want to hang out with. Enjoy them. I do.
What the hell happened? I must have clicked something by mistake. Oh, well, I'm so excited for this show. You know what they say? Shit happens.
You know what it is? It's Snowmageddon. Guys, believe it or not,
Snowmageddon.
first time this year. They said it was supposed to start. School was canceled. Everything shut down today. And you know what? It's 3 o'clock Eastern time, and snow started about 20 minutes ago, and it's coming down. That is actually sitting on the rooftops. Wow, for 20 minutes. But yes, those kids could have went to school today.
Yeah.
So yeah, it'll be a fun drive home.
They could have got out early, like back in my day. If it really started snowing, they would just release school early. Instead, they can it, and it just started, and they could have went to school. My fear is it keeps coming down like it is, and I can't get rid of this guy, and he's going to have to spend the night. And that is a huge fear.
I don't think it's so much of a fear. You all know I'm from Wisconsin. I love driving in the snow, actually. I would have a blast. The problem is nobody down here knows how to drive in the snow. So, when I'm done here, we're actually not doing supper tonight. I am going home. I actually got some errands to do on the way. And we'll do it before the movie because tomorrow we are seeing Monkey. That's right.
The movie based on a Stephen King short story. I'm looking forward to it. It looks pretty bloody, even though that Stephen King guy's kind of nutty and cuckoo, and he looks more like an old woman every day. But hey, let's move on. We have a special guest today. We always like talking Marvel shows, movies with him and stuff. He knows this stuff really well. He's seen the movie. We've seen the movie. Our good pal, Christian Bladt, is in the house.
Speaking of people who are looking more and more like old women every day, here's Christian Bladt. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. Thank you for having me on.
Wow, I'm glad you caught that.
I was waiting for you to throw me under the bus.
No. You know what? That's not how we do things over here. So not this time anyway. So
I hear you. So audience, so you know, we're going to be talking about Captain America: Brave New World. We're going in depth. There's going to be spoilers abound. And, Dennis and I did our non-spoiler review, which we put up last Friday. So if you just want that, you can go check that out. But we are going to be spoiling stuff. I have a feeling most of the audience doesn't really care if they hear spoilers. So that's what we're doing. So out of the gate, Christian, we on the DNA show use the CGC comic book grading scale of 0.5 to 10.0 to rate movies. So knowing that, we've already done it, but we want to hear yours. Then we'll tell you ours. Where would you rate this movie on that scale?
Yeah, on the CGC scale, I always hedge my bets a little bit because I like to use the sort of the old grading first, and then I give you that one. So like mint, near mint, very fine. I like to start there because I'm old school. All right, I'm an Overstreet Buyer's Guide guy. All right, I'm not so much CGC. I'm not even Wizard, but
Wizard inflates everything, so
that's right. Wizard says this movie's a 12.5 on a 10.
That's right,
out of 10.
And you better go see it now because it's going to be really rare.
Yeah. Oh no, exactly. You're not going to be able to find tickets to this movie. So I am going to give it a. So my initial is the very fine because what do I want from these movies? I want to sit down and I want to have fun. And for the most part, I had fun with this. And yes, I do a lot of shows. I create a lot of content where we start talking about, what didn't work, which scenes were obviously reshot, which I'm sure we'll talk about.
Oh yeah.
Things like that. But, I'm going to give it, I'm going to give it a 7.5 on the CGC scale because I had fun at the end of the day. I wouldn't be opposed to watching it again, but it's mostly because I would like to see the Red Hulk stuff in IMAX.
Okay. So none of us are on the same line. I gave it a 6.5.
Okay, not too
and
far.
like you, I got to admit, I went into it with really low expectations after hearing about numerous reshoots and just all the problems with it. But at the end of the day, I had one major problem with it, which we'll talk about, and it was actually a casting choice for one of the characters. But I got to say, at the end of the day, I didn't walk out of there going, "Oh my God, this movie was full of woke garbage." We'll get into more detail, but
no, and look, that was
it.
probably the expectation because, like, okay, look, you have a black Captain America now. It would be very easy to, tell that story in that way, and
Right.
I'm glad they didn't just because it was more watchable, but also we've known Sam for a while. You know what I mean? Like,
yep.
yeah, we know all about him trying to get a boat for his sister in the Falcon and Winter Soldier series. We know more about Sam Wilson than we ever needed to.
Exactly. All right, Dennis, tell them what you gave it.
I went in with fairly low expectations, and I stay away from. It's hard to stay away from everything. That's been my mantra. I don't want to know everything going in. I just want to go in and watch it as blind as can be. And even I heard about the reshoots and stuff like that, and I was like, whatever. But I walked in. I thought it was okay. There were things that I thought were better than I expected and things worse. I gave it a 4.5. I thought it was okay. And it is something where I know for a fact I will not be. I usually get everything in 4K for at home so I can watch it. I won't be buying it. I just thought it was it was meh. If we put it by the old scale. Today's scale, I would probably put it at like a very good plus.
Well, Dennis, if it's a 4.5, you wouldn't even send this to CGC. There's no reason to get it slabbed. There's no reason to get it graded.
No, this
even if they're doing like a triple signing, one of those ones, it's just like, nah, it's not worth it.
No. I will say my biggest fear, seriously, going into this was Harrison Ford, because I just felt like he was going to just get a paycheck, be in the movie, not care about it, nothing. I actually really enjoyed his version of President Thaddeus Ross. I liked it. Yeah. And I was like, oh, wow. And that was a big surprise to me. So on the good side, I really enjoyed. And I was going to say, the majority of the things that I enjoyed about this were the actors and what they brought with them. Where I think it fell short in some of it was the writing for what they were given to do. I think if it would have been writing, I think this would have been a really decent movie. But I like the actors.
Yeah, I think they were trying to go for, I should say, a Winter Soldier type feel with the whole political, stuff going on and whatnot. And I think the Russo brothers could have pulled it off, but I don't think they pulled it off. To get onto and we'll be out of order with what we talk about, but I just got to get this out of the way. He really wanted to talk about it on Friday, but I was like, no, let's keep it till Wednesday. The casting I'm talking about, he'll tell us the woman's name, but it was that very small woman that was protecting the president that kicked so much ass that was part of the Black Widow, training, whatever. The Black Widow Academy, we'll call it. And I'm just like, are you kidding me? That chick doesn't even weigh 90 pounds. She's like, you could just go boop and push her over.
Well, I think that's probably the perception, the conceptualization for that character is that she's very unassuming. And, Wolverine's, 4'11", so okay. I'm just saying, he towers over her. But the interesting thing about that character, of course, is that character is supposed to be Sabra, who
I know,
is the Israeli Captain America. And look, I think that no one's going to fault Disney for going, okay, we got to rethink that. And go ahead.
I was just going to say, does that character in the comics, if she's like the Israeli, Captain America type, because in the comics she can also fly, I believe. Does she have?
You might be right. Yeah.
Does she have like super strength or anything? Like what?
Yeah.
Like in the comics, is she super soldier serumed up with whatever they have?
No,
I don't know if she's super soldier, but
she's a mutant. She's a
yeah.
mutant in the comic books. So she has superhuman strength, super speed, agility, reflexes, ability to transfer powers and life energy, and regenerative healing. And the one thing, and here's what was my question is since that was, and you would not know that was supposed to be her because the president only ever says Ruth. That's all you get from him is name? Ruth is in her name, her character name.
Right.
And they did a really big job of hiding her true identity because at least if they would have came out and hinted at it, or in the comic book, she always wears the Star of David.
Yeah,
if they would have gave us something that she is, because we're bringing in adamantium, which means that we are now adding something to the Marvel Universe, mutants. This would have been a good way to kind of introduce her. Give us 3 or 4 more minutes, give her this background, and give us a reason why this very small, petite character is kicking the crap out of everybody, because their only point in telling of the story is she was part of the Black Widow, the Red Room program, and that's not going to cut it.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, that's just not enough for me for the fight scene she had in this. It's like, I don't give a crap if you were part of that or not. I'm just not, maybe one-on-one with no other guys, but she took on like 3 or 4 dudes at once, and it's like,
and it's a little misleading because my understanding is that she did a Red Room correspondence school, so it's like University of Arizona. She didn't actually go to the real Red Room. The thing that surprised me is that in the movie they actually say she's Israeli born. Excuse me, sorry about that. I did not expect them to even get a hint. I thought she was going to suddenly be German. I really didn't think that the I word was going to even show up. And it's hard to say what was the original plan for this character when she was Sabra, and did we get more explanation? But this is their decision, so they should have at least explained something more than that. I think that they felt that they did a good job. And here's what I'll say. Movie's an hour and 58 minutes. So 4 more minutes would have pushed it over 2 hours. I appreciate one of these comic book movies, big blockbusters, when it's 2 hours or under.
Yes.
Hold on. Admiral Wackass says, wait, the Hebrew Hammer was in this and they did a gender swap. No, in the comics, Sabra is a woman. So they didn't gender swap. They just, I don't know. Maybe they just cast it because they did more than one audition for this role. Maybe
what if they didn't? What if she was the only one who showed up and it's like, well, I guess we got.
Well, the thing is that would be hilarious. But I thought as an actress, I thought she did a good job.
Yeah, she's fine.
Yeah, fine, exactly.
I just didn't think once you saw what she could do and stuff, I was just like, from a physical standpoint, casting wise, visually, are you kidding me? Like, I can buy Scarlett Johansson as Black Widow, and I can't remember the actress name that plays her sister, but I can buy them because they're both short as well, but they had meat on their bones. I mean, this woman couldn't fill out her freaking jeans.
Yeah,
Florence Pugh. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, Florence Pugh. Yeah. So I mean, it's not that they could have stuck with somebody that was 5'2", but God.
Okay, so that was
beyond that.
That was one of the negatives. The real positive, the character that I enjoyed the most. So I'll be curious to see what you're. Isaiah Bradley. That was my hands out. That's all I could say. I loved him in the movie. I actually really wish they could have done a little more, but I loved everything he did. His storyline, everything. I just couldn't get enough of him. Everybody knows I love. Giancarlo Esposito. I was like, yes, he's in this. Okay, we needed more of him, but again, like you said, it's 2 hours. It just felt like there was so much to me that they cut out or they quickly added in, and you could tell that it was like, we were editing and cutting too much. And I've heard it was only 1 reshoot from Disney now, and other people are saying it was 4. Don't know, but it was evident. And
Yeah,
I
no,
would love to see what the
it's not
original
an out of the ordinary amount of reshoots. I think the Marvels had excessive reshoots. We have examples of in recent memory, and one of the big reasons that Giancarlo Esposito's not in it more is probably one, they've got more plans for him, but two, he replaced Seth Rollins was supposed to play that character.
That's who it was, Seth Rollins.
Yeah. So and I think that one of those scenes, the last time that Sam goes to talk to him, I think that's an extra scene. So I think they even put more of them in there. And I agree that I thought that the Isaiah Bradley story, going back to the Falcon and Winter Soldier series, I think that's one of the best things that came out of that series. I think he was great. And on one of the many shows that I host is a show called Marvel Movie Talk on the Geekscape Network. And one of my co-hosts pointed out in the original trailer, the first teaser trailer, when we went back and watched it, there's a funeral that they're at. And it's clearly a military funeral because there's an American flag on the coffin. So my theory, and everyone's theory on the show, I guess we all agreed, is that Isaiah Bradley probably died initially. And I'm glad he didn't. Because that would be it would kind of make the most sense that the guy that runs away from the White House gets gunned down,
Right.
So,
yep. Yeah. Well, so I was listening to Rob Liefeld's podcast, his latest one, and he said that the first screening they did of this last year was the worst test score they ever got. And which led to the first round of reshoots, which was when they brought in Giancarlo Esposito.
Sure.
And you probably know more about the background of this stuff than me, but Rob was saying that, and I know this, reshoots aren't uncommon, but they're usually like, a few days. But this first round of reshoots was, from what he said, apparently like 22 days.
Yeah. Yeah. And the interesting thing about Rob, and I do enjoy his podcast typically, he's got a very big axe to grind with Marvel right now.
Oh, yeah.
The way that he's handling it, I wouldn't have invited him to the Deadpool and Wolverine after party either.
Well, but but you got to understand, all this led up to.
Oh no, that's what I'm saying. The way he's acting now, I'm like, we probably didn't make a mistake. I was mostly making light of it, but
yeah.
But yeah, I think that and he's really invested in this movie not doing well, because I follow him on social media, and I was like, look, it didn't make as much as Ant-Man Quantumania, which I believe I talked about with you guys, and I found this to be more fun than Ant-Man and Quantumania, but I like Paul Rudd more, so it's like it's a balance. Do I want Bill Murray? There's a lot of questions. So and I think that the scene that felt the most tacked on, and again, we're talking about all the spoilers, there's no way that scene with Bucky was originally in there.
No, there's no way.
I think what Rob's talking about with the test scores, everybody's like, hey, remember how he did a series with like his best friend Bucky? Where is he? Why is he not in this? And they're like, all right, well, let's go have him visit,
Well, speaking of that scene, let me get your thought on this. I assume you've seen the Thunderbolts trailer.
Yes.
Oh.
Yeah, this is a McDonald's Happy Meal toy and toy time.
Nice. Very nice. So you've seen the Thunderbolts trailer.
Of course.
And in the Thunderbolts trailer, correct me if I'm wrong, Bucky's hair is longer than what we just saw.
I think so, yeah.
And it seems disjointed now, because in this movie, which obviously takes place, I mean, if they do it like every Marvel movie, this movie takes place before Thunderbolts, I assume.
I would assume
he's running for the house.
Yeah.
And he's clean cut and all that. In Thunderbolts, it looks like he's on the run somewhere.
That was one of my thoughts. I'm wondering where this is going to fall in. Is this going to maybe not be before? But
I know that's my other thought.
The idea of not calling the team the Thunderbolts, kind of implies that it's after this. I guess we'll find out in a few short months. But just the way he appeared, and I think his appearance in this movie, talking about the physical appearance, it probably had more to do with what was he filming at the moment.
Right?
What I mean? What are you borrowing Sebastian Stan from for a day?
And the other thing with Sebastian is it's interesting because this movie delves into we think he's being mind controlled somehow. Something caused him to do it. So they start speculating about this. Who do we know in the Marvel universe that might or might not be in this movie that would deal with mind control that would help that? Well, if Ruth is Black Widow, obviously the Red Room is all about mind control.
Sure.
And you kind of got Bucky, who was literally mind controlled on it. It would have been so much better to tie those characters into dealing with that aspect of it instead of, again, the tacked on scene where he just shows up and says, hey, you're right for the job. It was a good choice. You don't need the super serum.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I agree. And I think having him involved would have made the movie better. And it could be as simple as just a scheduling problem. Maybe they wanted to save him for Thunderbolts. But yeah, so I guess they figured a tacked on scene is better than having no Bucky in this movie.
Right. What did you think of the Hulk, Red Hulk overall? Do you think it was bad that they basically saved it for like 5 minutes at the end?
And
they
no, I think that there's obviously a lot of like red, motif colors like looming throughout the early parts. I think that maybe when they're making it, there's the thought of like, we want to surprise people with the Red Hulk, but without the Red Hulk, I don't know how you market this movie. And I think that it kind of lets people know that you're going to get this. I could have used more of him, but at the same time, I think that we will see him as the Red Hulk again. That end scene implies that that's also someone whose funeral could have been cut out of this version of the movie. If we know how much Harrison Ford likes to kill off his characters. So
well, I mean, go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say for me it was the best. It was the best sequences in the movie. I would have liked a little bit more. But, if there was, say, twice as much Red Hulk as we got, that's too much. So I don't know where the sweet spot is.
Okay. I just think, before you read this, I just think if it was even a 2-3 minutes more, but earlier on, so it's interspersed, and it's not just all boom at the end, because it was no surprise. That's my point, is nobody was going into this movie not knowing that Harrison Ford was going to turn into the Red Hulk.
I almost wish they wouldn't have showed him in the trailer and just hinted at it. I think it would have been.
So Liefeld said on his podcast, this was a while ago, that also with the first test screening they did, when Harrison Ford turned into the Red Hulk, the audience laughed because it was Harrison Ford turning into the Red Hulk, not that, look, Mark Ruffalo's not on the same level as Harrison Ford, and people laughed. And this is Rob, theorizing, but he theorizes basically, well, that's not good, because his basic theory is they were going to save it, right?
Yeah.
As a surprise. But then when people laughed and they got that reaction, they were like, we better just get in front of it and put it out there so people get used to it.
Yeah, no, definitely. And I think it was the thing to do. I mean,
I do too. I couldn't imagine like
a surprise, but
yeah, I don't think. I mean, I know I still would have seen it in the theater, but I don't know if I would have been with the excitement I did have, which wasn't much in the first place because of everything I knew. It would have definitely been a lot less if it could have been if I didn't know that going in.
Right. It's something that people are looking forward to because they know it's in there.
Yeah. Like I said, I like the teaser trailer where you just saw his foot and the shield going down. I went, that would have been fun. That's the excitement part right there. That's the anticipation. Randy Howell's asking, he goes, I haven't watched MCU movies since Spider-Man No Way Home. Do I need to see previous movies or a TV series in order to follow this story?
No.
You don't need to, but I would say watch one of those other movies or TV series instead of this. You know what I mean? Like if but I think it does a decent enough job referencing the events of Falcon and Winter Soldier, the series. Yeah. But that series was clearly set up where you don't ever have had to watch it because we all saw Steve give Sam the shield. And then that series starts, I don't want to be Cap, but then when it ends, okay, I am going to be Cap. So it's a self-contained story,
Yeah,
which
they did enough exposition dumps in my mind where they talked about things that let it in. If you watched them, I think you would get more out of it, but I don't think it's absolutely imperative that you have seen the other stuff.
Did you have any issues with Sam pulling off the stuff he was doing without having any enhanced strength or powers? Because I still do. And I know, trust me, better than anyone. Look, you're going into a Marvel movie, you have to suspend reality. True, but they need to do a good enough job to where I'm not questioning stuff either. And I was kind of hoping going into this movie when it came out that Sam's wings were vibranium, that maybe there was something in his suit that enhanced his strength or something as well, right? Because my whole thing has always been, I don't give a shit how good a shape you're in, dude. Throwing that shield more than once is going to take it out of you. And getting into a fight with multiple guys, I don't know.
I'll tell you the scene that, and I'll get your reactions to it. The scene that just floored me is after seeing the basic fights and how he can bounce it and stuff. I don't have a problem with that. When he's flying in the air and he throws it, there's multiple missiles. I think 4 missiles that the Japanese pilots fired. He throws the shield, bounces, boom, 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 and then returns. Even Steve Rogers with his enhanced strength, it just didn't make sense, because I think that was one of the times I actually groaned in the movie, sitting in my seat, and I went, "Oh, no way!" it just killed me. But there was that was my take on it.
That scene, the scene where he's fighting the real big dude when he first sees Giancarlo, and the big dude even stabs him, right up here.
Yeah.
And he's getting thrown around like a freaking rag doll and stuff. But
yeah, so while I sort of agree, and that I'm not convinced that they did enough of a job explaining it, at least they attempted to explain it. You saw how his armor would disperse some of the force that hit it. You saw how it struggled. You saw how Red Hulk just basically plucked these wings right off of him. You know what I mean? So we saw that, yes, he is basically still Falcon with a shield now. And probably a little bit more conditioning. It's what it seems like.
Sure.
But apart from a Peloton subscription, I don't know how much different it really is from what he was doing before. So yeah, I think they at least addressed it. And look, I think it does leave an interesting question there, and Bucky tells him he doesn't need to, but he would be better at this job if he took some kind of serum, if they did.
Yeah. And they're showing through just other hints. Basically, they might not have replicated Steve's serum exactly, because Bucky's was different. You got the Red Guardian and stuff, which alludes to they could still create something to help Sam out. Prater says, does not taking the serum imply that Steve Rogers is less of a hero for taking the serum? Does not taking the serum imply he's less of No, because Steve had the heart. He just didn't. There was no way for Steve to get that physicality that they were counting on in that experiment. To me, he was a hero just because of they showed it jumping on the grenade and just his attitude, but then going in for this untested experiment, just that worked. And then, he was able to really be the hero, full package, I guess, whatever.
Yeah. I don't think it makes him less of a hero. The thing that with Sam in this movie, the spots that worked best for him wasn't when he was trying to be Cap. It's when he was being Falcon. He was flying and dodging and doing all of his Falcon stuff. That was when I was most engaged with his character. It just was the Cap stuff that he did. It did not lock me in, whereas all of his Falcon-esque stuff really landed for me. I really enjoyed that. And then his new sidekick, that he's training to it, I think he was fun.
Yeah, that's him. The green dropped out too because of your green screen.
Because of my green screen. I know you
Yes,
can't
see
actually.
that?
That's awesome.
Yeah, these are the only ones I have. I don't have the Red Hulk, which, by the way, it's interesting because the McDonald's tie-ins were last summer because that's when this movie was supposed to come out. You cannot move those Happy Meal tie-ins for any reason. They're like, you do what you want, because the same thing happened with the Marvels. They had their Happy Meal tie-in months before the movie because that's the slot that they reserved. They're like, we got Pikachu, we got Super Mario, we got too many other tie-ins to do. We're not moving it just because your movie's not coming out. So yeah, and one of the ones that came out, like almost a year before the movie was the Red Hulk. So we've really known that he's going to be in here for a while.
Oh, and yeah.
Look at Randy Howell telling people where to find me, by the way, on the Blackcast. Bless you, Randy Howell.
Yeah, Randy's the man. He's great at that stuff.
He's always popping links, so we'll get you some more subs.
Let's see. Steve Rogers get those shield on the way.
Oh, you want me to pop it?
Yeah. So Joe says super soldier serum giving a person that max capacity strength gives them a form of super strength and other abilities. Steve Rogers could throw the shield in a way he does, not because of practice. Yeah. I get that. Yeah. I mean, I think I can see what you're saying, Dennis. When he was more Falcony up in the air doing all that, it was definitely it was better.
Like when he was interacting with the, for example, the jets.
Right.
One of the issues I had was Japan only launched two jets, which, okay, for whatever reason.
I mean, Dennis, they only have 4 jets. You didn't want them to use all of them for this, did you?
Which is why they didn't use China. They used Japan because they just didn't have the number of jets to do it. But, when he was flying, and he would go up there and he'd cut the wing, or he would go in there and eject him and stuff like that. That was all cool stuff. And I really wish that they could have done more with that whole segment, though. For example, the planes are coming in. Do Torres and I, do we just take out these planes, or they fire the missiles? Do we let the missiles fly? Maybe sink some ships, but we go into Japan instead of just trying to show them, because there's conundrums there that they could have really done something, which way would be better to handle it. And they just kind of bypassed it. And for some reason, like I said, it was only 2, but those were the best parts when he was dealing directly with those, with the jets and up trying to prove that they were trying to de-escalate, the system, the issue.
Yeah, I think that I don't know. I mean, that sequence seems to have also gotten mired in some reshoots as well. I do think that they want this new Falcon to be around for a while because they want us to care about him. And he's someone else who could have died in this film. Again, there's that mystery cemetery scene that we don't really know whose funeral that was. So I look, I think we got to know him a little bit on the series, and I think their dynamic works well enough. And I'm okay with getting more of this Falcon, but much as this Captain America is learning what it takes to be Captain America, Torres is not entirely up to snuff on what it takes to be Falcon.
No, but he will be. I mean, next time we see him, he'll have a colorful outfit, which is fine.
That's half the fun in my mind is him not being, up to, having to learn. It's kind of like the DC Star-Lord or Starman when he got his powers and he had to learn how to do them all. I actually think that's kind of half the fun of that character is I'm trying, I'm just failing, but hey, I'm giving it my all. Hopefully I'll survive.
Right.
What did you think of the leader?
Yeah, that was the one I wanted to talk about.
So I think that it's funny because in a lot of ways, this movie is it's a sequel to 2 movies that no one needed any more continuation from. I'm, of course, talking about Eternals with the Celestial. It was the most shocking thing in the movie. I'm like, oh, wait, so that still happened? All right, I didn't realize.
Yep.
And look, kudos to the actor who plays the leader, Tim Blake Nelson. He shot a movie in what would have had to have been 2007 because it came out in 2008 and probably never gave it another thought. And they're like, hey, do you want to play the leader again? The who? Oh my God, the leader. Sure. Why not?
That's right. Something happened to that character in the movie.
Yeah, so the thing that I like about having him, and we can talk about the way he was portrayed, is that the Incredible Hulk, like rogues gallery of villains, is basically Thunderbolt Ross, the Abomination, and the Leader. And I know that there's plenty of other ones, but those are like,
those
when
are
you
the big
start the
ones.
list, those are the ones. And we already got Abomination.
Yep.
So I like the idea that they're like, all right, let's have him be here. It is an interesting character. You know, he's got all the probabilities. You know, I feel like they'll be able to do more with that. He didn't. I wanted the big narrow head like we had in the comics. This one, it just kind of, you know, you shouldn't be able to toss a fedora on and hide the fact that you're the leader, you know?
Yeah, that's what I told Dennis. I said he was the same. He wanted the big narrow head.
Yeah.
And I just wanted, I didn't mind the brainy looking stuff at the top of his head. But like you guys, I was just like, just a few inches higher. That's all. Same thing. Because
Right.
let's be honest, if they would have done the big narrow head with that perfect black haircut, that would have been dumb.
Yes.
But if they would have done the narrow head, but just with the bubbly stuff like they did, the brain stuff, just a few inches higher, I would have loved it, because they did the green skin. They gave him messed up eyes, which was cool. Look, and I thought Tim Blake did a great acting job.
You've got CG already rolling in this thing. Put it on that. That was my big takeaway. I was excited because I really thought when the last movie, I'm like, oh, we're going to get to see the Leader later on. Okay. Hey, we are. All right. I'm very excited because I like the character. I like him in the comic books. I think Tim Blake Nelson, I thought he was awesome. I was very excited. And I liked what he did in there. It's just they didn't quite write him there. Give him the longer head, but they talk so much about he does everything percentages. He is so smart that he can do it. They told us once again how smart he was over and over again throughout the movie, but yet everything that he did with all of his probabilities, none of it actually panned out. So it wasn't written quite right. They needed to show us how smart he was and have things happen versus tell us.
Well, I think you raise an interesting point, because what you could do is you could almost have, you know, smart ass Sam Wilson saying like, you weren't so right about those probabilities, were you? And then he would just be like, oh, no, it's all still going to happen. It just hasn't happened yet. The probabilities are all still exactly the same. And I think that would have been more ominous. And I'm not sure the threat that he's referring to, because, you know, if I watch these movies in a vacuum, I would assume he's talking about Kang. But clearly we don't talk about Kang anymore.
No.
You know, he's the Bruno of the MCU. Yeah, we don't talk about Kang. So, I mean, I don't know, Doom, the Beyonder? I don't know. So,
I mean, it's got to be Doom. But on that front, I was telling Dennis, I saw a meme, and I don't know if it's true or not. Now, we know Robert Downey Jr.'s Doom. I read Chris Evans is coming back. So the meme I saw is basically Downey Jr. in the center of his Doom, and then this team he assembles, and one of them is Chris Evans' Hydra Cap from a different universe.
Okay.
You know, and then Scarlett Johansson, I can't remember the character name, but she's a variant basically.
Sure.
And Thor, and then Jeremy Renner as this wicked Hawkeye, and basically evil Avengers, you know. And I'm just like, you could almost believe it if if it was true, because you know, it's Avengers Doomsday War, whatever it's called. But is anybody excited for this new Avengers team they're going to assemble? So it's almost like you're going to be more excited because they're bringing back the regular Avengers actors as evil.
Right. And I don't know that they're going to bring them all back, but if you want to bring them back as evil, you should do the Star Trek method and give everybody a goatee, because people watching don't realize that here on the show, this is actually the mirror universe Dennis. This isn't the real Dennis. Yeah,
exactly.
That's right.
He's switched places a long time ago.
Goatee. I am Mirror Dennis.
Yeah.
Good Dennis is out trying to save the universe.
Yeah.
That's why I'm here.
Yeah,
we don't have time for that. But including Scarlett Johansson with a goatee, I think that would let us know. Oh, she's really evil. You know.
Yeah. So I don't know. the excitement, because this is an after credit scene that I think should have been bigger than it was. And especially for this movie, because you look at the other movies that have come out between Endgame and this one, and they've all really been secondary. You know what I mean? Yeah. Whereas this one, you got Captain America in the title. This to me is like, all right, finally a big movie they're back with. And that after credit scene, it's like, you're doing a payoff that's going to be shorter than the payoff from the first Avengers after credit scene, right? That had Thanos. That payoff was 2012. The payoff was 2019, 7 years later. I mean, the Doom movie is what, 2027? So it's only 2 years.
I believe so. Yeah. Well, they don't have as wide a canvas to paint on. There's they need a couple of these to really make an insane amount of money. I think that's really what it comes down to. And they had Deadpool and Wolverine. That sort of was the blip for otherwise downward trajectory. But I mean, look, I think that I don't know. I guess it's always easy to kind of look at that aspect of it. I know Liefeld was looking at the box office receipts, but it did fine internationally. And when you call your movie Captain America, there is always that chance that it's not going to do well overseas. So I think that. I think that this movie is better than the two movies that it adds on to, Eternals and the 2008 Incredible Hulk, which I actually don't hate that. I don't hate that movie, by the way.
I actually liked it.
I don't hate it at all. I just still have a hard time connecting it to the MCU because the Hulk is so different. Because different actor, different visual. If I don't know the behind the scenes, but if they could have worked it out where they could have kept Edward Norton and then just tweaked the look of the Hulk a little bit like they do now from movie to movie cohesively as a whole. Because, if you're like, where should I start this MCU journey? You're like, well, technically the Incredible Hulk with Edward Norton. But most people say Iron Man.
Yeah. I mean, well,
we got Liv Tyler. I mean, that was the heart for me. The warmest moment was.
But do you think she was in it more?
Where I bet she was in it more, or she wasn't in it at all, and they decided that's how they were going to reshoot. They were going to bring her in for it. And all I can say is I can quote Coach McGinty from The Replacements. What's this movie need to win? Heart. This movie needs heart. And I think that's what we needed. And that's the one thing that Liv brought to it, because I was sitting there the whole time. Liv better show up now. Liv better show up now.
Once he called her and you could tell it was Liv Tyler's voice, you knew she was showing up. She's not doing an off-screen cameo. I talked about this on my shows, and I felt like where we were going to get her would have added to the heart. Red Hulk is just destroying Washington, D.C. and really doing a number on Cap, on Sam. And I thought that's when she was going to show up, when Betty was going to try to calm him down, the way that Natasha used to calm down Bruce. And he would see her, and then like almost instantly it would all fade away. I thought that would have been really powerful.
That would have been great compared to what they did do.
With the cherry trees, the blossoms, the cherry blossoms. She steps out in there. They bring her in there and calms it down. That was what I was waiting for. And I went, oh, Sam just did that. Oh,
right.
So that indicates that maybe she is an additional scene. You know what I mean? That maybe there wasn't.
See, I was going to say though, I don't know if she was, because if memory serves, when they were first talking about the movie and casting, I swear I remember seeing that from the original Hulk movie that the leader Tim Blake was coming back and Liv Tyler was coming back very early on.
I think you're right, actually. Yeah.
That's why I almost think she got cut out of it more. But I agree with you guys. I thought for a fact when they were fighting in DC and the Hulk was kicking the Falcon's ass, the only way he was going to get calmed down is her walking into the scene. I thought for sure that was going to be it, and was just amazed that it wasn't.
Yeah. Yeah. So I think that it's good that they included it, that there is that interaction, that we get that payoff, and that's not something that's looming for the Ross character. But yeah, I think that there was a golden opportunity to use her in a really effective way. And I don't know, they didn't. So
yeah. All the links are included on X, guys. So if you're watching it that way, Randy's posting them all there. Well, before we wrap up stuff, got to talk about the Fantastic Four trailer with you because it's been so long. I assume you've seen it, and what did you think?
So I like what they're doing, which is it is a very stylized, different looking movie. One of the biggest arguments, including from someone that I went to see this movie with, is that all these movies really look the same. They kind of, it's almost like an assembly line, and they just change the director. And sometimes they change the director during the course of shooting the movie. And then the new director comes in and, turns out the same product. So this looks completely different. And I think that they know that they have gotten the Fantastic Four wrong 3 times, and you can't get the FF wrong 4 times. I still say that the Roger Corman one is still the best one from the storytelling standpoint.
I just said that on one of the other shows. That is still my favorite Fantastic Four movie, and I had to go to a Comic-Con years ago and get a bootleg copy on VHS in order to watch it. Still my favorite.
I spent $40 at a Comic-Con. I bought that on VHS for $20 and the Star Wars Christmas special for $20. That's some of the best $40 I ever spent. For the Geekscape Network, where I do shows, last summer I actually interviewed Robert Culp, who plays Dr. Doom in that movie. His father's Joseph Culp from I Spy. And so I got to talk to him, and he's still very fond of that project, and he would just like people to be able to see it, which I was just like, yeah, I mean, it shouldn't be that hard to let people see that movie. But
yeah, I know,
right?
But I am excited for this FF. The last one with Miles Teller and Kate Mara, you knew, like, as soon as you saw the trailers, you're like, I don't think this is going to work. This one, I'm very hopeful. I have no complaints about the casting. However, they feel it works. As long as it's a good movie, it's going to be great, And I think that I hope that Ben Grimm doesn't keep his shirt on the whole movie. I need to see those rock hard nipples. All right,
I hear. I'm right there with you. So the major complaint I've heard from friends, and it didn't really cross my mind until somebody said it.
Yeah,
because I'm not that familiar with Ben's voice, and they were like, "Oh my God, I hope they do something to the actor's voice because it's just the actor right now, the way the actor sounds."
Oh yeah,
it's not gravelly or deep or anything. And I said, "Well,
they didn't change Michael Chiklis, did they? He just sounded like the commish, didn't he?
He basically did.
Yeah. But Michael's already, but he's got that natural voice.
He's already kind of deep, but yeah. So."
Yeah. And everybody's like, why does Ben Grimm sound like he's from Boston? It's all right. Don't worry about it.
Yeah. So, I mean, I'm kind of hoping that maybe either A, this is the first teaser. They haven't gotten there yet. There's still time. That's an audio thing that they can do. Or B, maybe after the reaction, because I've seen this a lot, Marvel will go, yeah, let's see if we can mess with the audio adjustments there, because they don't have to really re-record anything.
Yeah, no, I mean, with as hard as Bane was to understand in Dark Knight Rises, they did a lot of work to make him more understandable, by the time we got to it. So yeah, I think it's very easy to do stuff like that. I mean, that speaking of Scarlett Johansson, that movie Her, the voice of the computer was a British actress whose name I forgot. They changed the whole movie, and they instead, I think that Americans didn't respond well to a Boston British lady being the voice of AI. So I think it's very easy to do that. That is literally the easiest thing to do, is when you have to change the vocal, but if he sounds like a normal guy, it's fine.
It didn't bother me when I first heard it.
When I would read comics with the Thing in it, I never thought like, oh, okay, he doesn't talk the same way he did before he got, encased in rocks,
Yeah, right.
Yeah. The stylized appearance of it, I love it. That is the one thing that I can say is it feels like it's from the 60s, like it takes place from before. Herbie's going around there, and I know some people don't like it, but they're like, oh my God, look at his eyes. They're terrible. I'm like, But that was technology then, the old tape, and having the tape basically reel to reels as his eyes. I'm like, I think it's brilliant. I actually think it's great. And it is very stylized from late 50s, early 60s, but they did it in a hyper stylized way. So it's over exaggerated. And I love that. It's kind of like Fantastic Four meets the Jetsons, and let's do that. So I think the visuals have me super intrigued with this.
So I think the question that I think a lot of people are curious about with the movie is, I mean, it's an MCU movie now. So I know what you're saying real quick about get this one right after 4 movies, but I consider it first movie because it's MCU. It's not, and the third one, the last one with Miles, that was awful. I didn't mind the ones in the early 2000s with Chickless and
they
stuff.
were okay. I mean, they were fun, and Stan Lee
Yeah.
got to play Willie Lumpkin. So, I don't hate those movies. They just, they didn't quite work, but yeah.
How do you think this has got to be a multiverse situation?
Yeah.
Because the movie takes place in the 60s. So it's not like they disappeared and have never been talked about. So do you think the after credit scene, or maybe they're not even going to save it for that, do you think that somehow pulls them into current Marvel MCU, or are they going to try and get another one out first before they go that route? You know what I'm saying?
Or is this from the 60s and something happens and they do disappear, they go to the Negaverse or something like that, and now they come back in?
Well, that could be, but that's still a news headline type thing that you would think would be.
You would think there would have been some reference to them, but no, it's not impossible. I do think it is a multiverse situation, and I think that story-wise, they could do a second one before they get sucked into the present day, but I'm sure that's not the way things work. You know what I mean? In the second Superman movie, he has to fight Batman. I mean, that's the kind of decisions that get made. Instead of giving you a second Man of Steel, let's just go ahead and jump right to the next one, and then we'll jump to Justice League. And it doesn't always work. In those cases, it didn't. So I do expect maybe they disappear sort of at the end of the movie proper, and then there's an after credits thing where it's almost like at the end of the Marvels when we get Kelsey Grammer as the Beast. It could be something kind of like that, and it'll set up a future movie. But I won't be disappointed if they decide to let them have another movie, another Fantastic Four second steps.
As long as this first one's good. I mean,
exactly. As long as this one's good. Yeah.
100%. I'm also hoping the after credit scene maybe shows Downey Jr.'s Doom as well. Because to me, it's like, I know, they pulled that stunt in San Diego last year. That was also the same time of all the stuff with Majors going down and in court, whatnot. So, but at the same time, they did pull it when the movie was being shot and stuff. So could the after credit scene be something with Doom?
Well, that movie is going to come out in the evening of, let's see, it's July 24th, I guess, because 25th is the actual opening day. So it ties in with the start of Comic-Con. So I feel like they have something very big for people to be excited about. And so I think that they look. I think we have talked about the fact that I don't love the idea of bringing Robert Downey Jr. back, but from a business standpoint, I understand why they did it. It's just like there's plenty of other great actors you could have used, but all right, that's what they want to do. So I think that they definitely want there to be something big, because that will be our third movie this year. It feels like old times. We're getting 3 Marvel movies in the space of like 4 months.
I know. And calendar wise, usually they space it, spring, summer, November, winter. Yeah. Now it's like by the end of July, that's it. Marvel movies are done for the year.
Yeah. And honestly, I don't even know what the first one is in 2026.
I have no idea.
Yeah. I don't think I know.
Yeah. Joe brings up a thought, and this is something we have talked about. Their universe does get destroyed by Galactus. You see the head, the Statue of Liberty, and they wind up getting disappeared. They wind up saving themselves or moving over. that could be another way to do it. I can see that happening. And, if we got to see Galactus wipe out an Earth in its glory, I would be down for that in a particular timeline.
Yeah, according to AI, February 23rd, 2026, just a little bit more than a year from right now, there is an untitled Marvel Studios film, and then Avengers Doomsday May 1st of next year, and then Spider-Man 4 July 24th. So this seems to be the schedule. We're just gonna front load the first part of the year.
Look at this. Avengers Doomsday is, I assume it's a part 1, is next year, right? From what
according to this, it's
and I think you're right, because I think I heard that they're going to start filming in the spring. So that's next year. We don't even know who the Avengers are.
Yeah, that's true.
It's Falcon or Captain America. Sam Wilson.
He was just asked to build the team,
right? Yeah. And it's his sidekick Falcon, right? But there was all that talk of the Young Avengers. Are they now going to promote all those guys to the Avengers?
No, I think that's still a separate, but I don't know. I mean, here's the thing about, Kate Bishop, Hawkeye. I mean, you do have a movie star playing that role. You wouldn't do a standalone Hawkeye movie, but it would certainly help. She's a bigger name than Florence Pugh. And, Bill's quarterback, Josh Allen's probably going to try and start making babies with her soon. So come on, let's get her into a movie sooner than later. Let's not let the clock run out to overextend the football metaphor. But I mean, look, I have characters that I'd like to see. I know we're going to get a Wonder Man series. I've been waiting for him for years.
I couldn't even believe, you want to talk about being under wraps. When I first saw the teaser they put out, which I think wasn't even in December. When I saw that, I was like, I knew about it, but I didn't even know it was in production yet. I'm like, this thing's been I've heard nothing about behind the scenes of filming of this or anything. And I got to say, it looked pretty good, but that's like December, I think, of this year.
Yeah, I know. And, it's there's a lot to speculate on, but the exciting thing, of course, is that it's Wednesday that we're talking today. So 2 weeks from today, we'll have the first episode of Daredevil. Actually, the first 2 episodes of Daredevil Born Again.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, that's true. Oh, they're dumping the first 2 at the same.
Well, they're doing the first 2, and then it's a couple of single weeks, and then they're doing another 2. I don't know. It's 9 episodes. So I don't know if you guys are watching Your Friendly Neighborhood Spider-Man, the animated series. They did the craziest release schedule with that. They did 2 episodes, then 3 episodes, then 3 episodes, and just last night they did 2 episodes. I haven't watched them yet. But
I can't. I watched the trailer and was like, I can't watch this.
You know what I would say you'd appreciate, Andy, if you put on I'll even tell you which episode. Let me think about which one it is, and I'll tell you. Just put one on mute just to look at it, because the visuals are great. Like, they do the sort of the comic panel moving around.
Yes.
So I think that it would be hard to not appreciate it on that level. But it's the first thing in a while that I'm actually like watching this show with my kids. So when I was talking about the Marvels, it's like there's not enough of the stuff where I'm certainly not watching Deadpool with my kids, I can, I do appreciate the fact that I
get that. It's cool if you can watch it with the kids and stuff. Mine's 21 now, and not that she wouldn't watch it. I'm sure if I brought it up, she probably would, but she hasn't brought it up. And, she's more into, she's looking forward to Daredevil.
Well, I don't want to get on the wrong side of Admiral Wackass in your chat, who hates the animation style, but I'm going to stand by my opinion.
Well, that's what's interesting is we were talking about that on a couple of the shows. You either love the style or you hate the style. Right. I know nobody that's in the middle that went, it's all right, or something. They're like, no, it's great, or I absolutely can't stand it. I just find that interesting. It's very polarizing for something. I do like the fact that it reminds you of a comic book. They'll even show times, and you'll see the outline of the panel and everything in there. I like that they do it. I like Peter's big glasses and his animated style. But Yeah, I know a lot of people do not like it. So
I wish that Disney Plus would maybe send out like scratch and sniff of the smell of old paper. I'd like it to smell like a comic that
You've
is.
got to grab
30...
one while you're watching it and give it a sniff.
You know what? It's a great point. I have plenty.
I'm going to say, come on.
I'll grab Marvel Tales 137, which reprints Amazing Fantasy 15, and I'll just smell that.
There you go.
Perfect.
Are you a Reacher fan? Are you looking forward to the new season of Reacher, or have you not even watched
I have
it?
not seen it, and everybody's always got the list of all the things they want to see. There's stuff that I've already seen that I liked. Like I still only saw the first season of Invincible, and I believe they're on the third season.
Yeah,
not because I don't like
they
it,
are.
not because I don't want to watch it. I just have to make the time to watch
Right.
it. So, but where are we at with Reacher? How many seasons is this?
This is
point?
3.
this will
Okay.
be third.
And,
Yeah.
Does it get a thumbs up from both of you?
Oh, yeah.
hell yeah.
Okay.
A big
Oh, yeah.
thumbs up.
In fact, the new season starts tomorrow.
Perfect.
Oh my God,
All
I
right.
didn't even think of that.
All right, I'm going to binge the first 2 seasons starting right now, and
Yeah,
should be ready
you
to
should.
go.
Well, that's the nice thing about Amazon is they drop 2, and then after that it's 1 a week. Honestly, that's what I don't like about Netflix. Netflix is just like, here it is, because he got me into The Night Agent on Netflix, and that's 2 seasons. So I watched the whole first season in a week, and it's 10 episodes, about an hour each, and I was like, damn, that's good. And then boom, jumped right into the second season and watched all that.
I was talking to people about this, look, this Netflix model's existed obviously since Netflix has been around. From a business standpoint, I don't get it. Disney Plus is like, oh, you want to see this show? Yeah, you're going to have to be subscribed to our service for 2 months. And then after those 2 months, the Marvel series ends, but then we have a Star Wars or, whatever, So the idea of like, you could have a 7-day trial and watch all of Squid Game 2.
Yeah.
That's all you really need. So.
Yep. And Severance is the one we're currently watching. And
wow. I loved the first season, but I'm being very budget conscious. As soon as it's over, I will pay for 1 month of Apple TV Plus and I'll watch the whole thing. So
it's
good.
Yeah, it is good.
I love that show. I thought the first season was great. Yeah.
It's deep. It's just really deep. And they've done a great job, Ben Stiller, for putting some thought into this. I love it.
I know.
Yeah.
So
the best thing that ever happened to Ben Stiller was that everybody hated Zoolander 2. If you look at what he's done since then, it's actually he's like, oh, maybe I'll make some good stuff.
Maybe I'll get serious now. Yeah. Let's see. Admiral Whack-Ass Night Agent had some fun stuff, but I was whatever on it, worth the watch, but nothing mind blowing. Yeah,
that's fair.
Watch Reacher. Reacher's a must see.
Well, tomorrow night we're going to go see, so because I know you're waiting with bated breath, Christian. We'll be seeing Monkey, so looking forward to that.
The local AMC has like a huge stand of that terrifying looking monkey, and it's always like I'm trying to rush my kids past it so that my 7-year-old daughter doesn't stare at it. But now in the back of the theater, they have those like claw machines where you can try and. So I have to not go to that part of the theater either. I can't wait till this movie's in theaters anymore and the stupid monkey goes away. That's what I'm trying to say.
Let's see. Amish Ninja says unpopular opinion: Henry Cavill or Alan Richmond should be Wonder Man.
That'd be amazing if you get Alan Rickman to be Wonder Man at this point. But. Unless he's talking about someone else, but I assume he's talking about.
He means
Hans Gruber, right?
I think he's talking about. Isn't the guy that plays Reacher? Isn't his first name? I thought his first name was Alan too. Yeah, I don't remember. That's
Richmond. Yeah, it's not Rickman. It's Richmond.
All right,
that's not the guy's name that plays.
I thought he was talking about Alan Rickman, and that's
but the guy that plays Reacher.
That's quite a get if you can get Alan Rickman in your movie now.
No,
Alan Richson.
Richson.
He was close.
Yeah, you were close.
You were actually very close. I just didn't know who that was.
He was close. He was close. Well, cool, man. I'm trying to think what else is coming out or what else is coming up before we wrap it real quick.
Well, we very quickly touched on Thunderbolts. That looks like it could be a lot of fun.
I love the Sentry.
I do too.
So if they do him right, just visually, because I've seen a lot of the YouTube now and these guys that are like, first look at blah, blah, blah. And then you realize, oh my God, everybody's jumping on the AI bandwagon to make these bogus trailers. But from the design that these guys are doing for their thumbnails, I'm like, that Sentry looks good. Yeah, I hope they saw something that they're modeling it after.
If they can get the Sentry and the Void to perfectly play, which they should, I think it'll be great. Yeah, and I think that's the key to that one.
Just based on the trailers, it feels like of these 3 Marvel movies this year, it feels like the one that, you know, like a week or so later, I'm like, you know, I'm going to go see that again because it was fun, you know, but who knows? We'll see if that's accurate, but it gives me that impression just looking at the trailer.
Well, it feels like the cast has that Guardians of the Galaxy chemistry.
Right. Exactly. Yeah.
And like you said, that alone, before even the Sentry stuff, I was like, I like the chemistry these guys have, you know. Now I got to say, it's funny because I would like to think there's some type of Bible for the characters that the writers and directors have to go off of and return, kind of like the old Marvel Universe Handbook, where it's like, oh, this character has this strength level, blah, blah, blah. Because we've all seen the trailer, and there's that scene in the trailer where, like, what is it? The car's coming right at Bucky, and Bucky just takes his metal arm. He's like, kaboom, and the car just flips all the way. I'm like, what the hell?
Yeah, well, that's for the addendum of the official handbook of the Marvel Universe.
Right, that's
the new power that goes on.
Like, but really, whenever you get the Red Guardian, when you get David Harbour in it, I mean, his humor and stuff, I think it's just going to help. I think it's a good cast, a good mix up. I think it'll be fun if they do it right, and I actually have real hope for this one.
Yeah,
and telling the John Walker U.S. agent story, I think it's all there. They just have to connect the dots from what's already been told in the comics, and I think that could be great. And Wyatt Russell, Kurt Russell's son, who is that actor, he was perfect because you hated him so much on that series. Like you could not have hated him anymore. And I'm like, yes, that's how we should feel about that character.
Yeah,
especially after we watched him in Night Swim, and then we went there, and he was much better as Agent Walker.
I skipped Night Swim. Yeah.
Oh. You missed a lot.
Yeah, I tell you what, if you want to see the good Night Swim, that movie was based on a 3-minute short that's on YouTube.
Oh, I got time for a 3-minute short on YouTube.
Yeah,
and it's better,
and it's just as good. It's not better.
It's just as good.
Yeah.
Have you seen the trailer? And I'm sure you have, for Novocaine.
Yes, I had to think about what that was for a second, but yeah, that looks wild. That looks like that looks like a fun ride.
Looking forward to that one.
Yeah. That looks great. That's another one. So, all right, well, cool, man. Well, thank you for joining us today.
It's always great to talk to you guys and and catch up and talk about whatever's going on. Marvel. I always appreciate you guys making time for me. And again, Randy Howell, just making sure everyone in your chat knows everywhere they can find me and all the things they can subscribe to. Except what isn't listed in there in the notes is something I've been doing for about 1.5 years. I co-host a show called Who Are These Broadcasters, which is on the YouTube channel for a much bigger show called Who Are These Podcasts. We do that show live 2 p.m. Eastern, 11 a.m. Pacific on the Who Are These Podcasts YouTube channel, but also exists as an audio podcast. And as we found just 2 episodes ago, the benefit of the audio podcast is that when YouTube tries to block you from showing a copyrighted video, the audio version's not at all impacted by that. So
what day of the week is it?
That's Tuesdays at 2 p.m. Eastern, 11 a.m. Pacific. So I'm not telling people to go somewhere else while you guys are on, obviously.
No.
Yeah.
Oh, that's cool. Very cool. Yeah, we'll have to check it out too. Well, guys, there you go. Thank you for watching. Next week, we'll probably have a guest. We'll figure it out. We like to fly by the seat of our pants.
Well, I'm not going anywhere. I'm going to just sit here for a week. So you'll have.
Yeah, you can do that. We'll pop StreamYard up next week and still see you there.
Yep.
Yeah, so join us next week. Of course, like we said, we're seeing Monkey tomorrow night. We'll drop our review Friday morning, 8 a.m. as usual. So be there for that. Go check out Graybeards with our buddy Aaron Lopresti, Dan Lawless, Gary Martin, as they tackle Barry Windsor Smith, drawing some of his stuff today.
Oh, that's a good one.
And Core Draft is a wrap. Books at the printer.
Yeah,
nothing. No campaign to promote because the campaign is closed. If you got a shirt, good news. They're all in a box in packaging. I'll be dropping off at the post office. So shirts are coming your way, and minifigs, all that stuff. We got it. We're just waiting for the books from the printer. We'll keep you guys up to date. And there you go. Thanks for joining. We'll catch you later. Christian, stay behind after we finish.
Bye, everybody.
Bye, everybody.
Hey, come on. Let's go, Captain Lindpress. Try again. Hey, everybody. Is there a window open? I feel a draft. Ah.